Young Big Daddy Kane, my man. What's going on, family?
Oh man, you got it, beloved. You got it.
Oh man, this is glorious, man. This is probably like my third official time interviewing you, but you know the love is there forever, man. I
Always,
appreciate it
always,
every time,
famo.
man.
Always.
Yes, indeed. So how have you been first and foremost, man? How have you been? You know, we're on the kind of like the other side of this whole pandemic thing is looking like. How's life been during this whole thing?
I mean, it's different, but I mean, I'm good. I mean, I've been blessed to still be performing. Majority of them been streaming shows as opposed to in front of an audience. Um, but I've been blessed to still be performing, and the downtime that we did have, I had the opportunity to be, featured in like two different films.
Mm.
So, it's been cool, man. And spend more time with the family, which is always a blessing,
Yes.
so we in each other's face all day, every day, you know. Uh,
And I know that had to be a little bit different because you're usually, on tour, you're doing shows like physically
right,
in
right.
spots. What did you learn about your family and about yourself during this time being with them?
Um, um, I learned that they can drive me crazy being trapped in the house with them all goddamn day. But I love them to death. I wouldn't have it any different way, man. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
I did
I
see.
mean, it's crazy because it's like I got my son. He gonna have me in the basement every day fighting imaginary bad guys. All right, today, Dad, we ninjas and people are breaking into our dojo, and they like that's him. And then with my wife, she like babe, you see my black MCM purse? And I'm like, damn, I don't know. Let me think. When the last time I had it? Like, how the hell I know where your purse at? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So yeah, that's my life.
That's your life, man. It's beautiful, and just sticking on that theme real quick because it goes into what you're doing with the podcast. But I saw like during that time, I want to say it was during that time you had like a '70s birthday party or something like that. Was that during COVID or that was just before?
That was before
Uh,
COVID. That was my 50th. So that was 2 years ago. Um, yeah, it was crazy because it was like we had talked about it, me and my wife and a few of the neighbors in the neighborhood. Like, yeah, we should like, cause they love how my basement is set up like a whole 70s theme, right?
it
So
is.
they're like, yeah, we should have it right down here, boom, boom, boom. But got close to crunch time and I'm like, nah, it's too close because you got to buy 70s clothes, and you know what I'm saying. It's like it's too close. Nobody got time to be focused on that right now. And then my wife and one of my neighbors, this young lady named Chrissy, they got together and they started working their magic. And next thing I knew, my boy Roland, and this is like a 6'5" dude from the Netherlands. He showed up at my front door dressed like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, let me go get dressed. Y'all dead serious about this.
It looked
I
like this
knew
was going
get
down.
my bell bottoms and my platforms, man. I'm like, y'all dead serious. All right, let's go.
Oh man, that was beautiful, man. I had to bring it up because it also kind of goes into what you just posted recently. It looked like you had like or you attended like a backyard kind of cool out, and you had like all the OGs just there,
Oh,
and you
that's my father. He just turned 76. Um,
nice,
and that was his whole crew. And they in
yeah.
there telling old back in the days stories, and they drinking, and oh my goodness, man, they had me crying laughing, man. Me and my brother, my manager Saquon, we was out there laughing all night at them, man. Yeah, 'cause they
Yo,
were
it looked
each one was on 10.
you could tell, man, because they were like, man, you ain't do it, and it felt like my uncles all back there having a good time, and that how you grew up? Is that was that a constant for you?
Oh yeah, nah. I mean, that's what it was. Like, them dudes would be outside in dress clothes. You
Mm,
understand me? Two,
mm,
three-piece suits with gaiters on,
mm.
washing a car. I'm dead serious. These dudes be
What?
pulling up outside, washing a car, talking junk to each other. I be like You ain't such. Man, you know you ain't such. I was the first one to go, man, go ahead, boy. Like, yeah, that's it. And every last one of them stutter real bad. So that just makes it even more funnier. Yeah.
Yo, so what style? I'm sure that's the style that you gravitated towards when it was time for you to come out, like those witty punchlines, the Dolomite kind of energy. But then you were also like, still am a razor sharp MC. The balance of what you put in the lyrics, some of that came from them, some of that came from your own experiences, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, as a shorty, I've always paid attention to that barbershop conversation, the cats that be talking junk inside the barbershop, or like where the pool hall was right on the corner there. As a little shorty, I would always hang out right in the front because I know, the hustler's gonna come through and give me like a $20 bill. Hey man, go get me a Lucy from the store, or go get me a Budweiser, keep the change. So I'm gonna end up with about $17 in my pocket, maybe 19 if it's just a cigarette they wanted, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, this is, I mean, I'll be out there and I'm listening to these cats talk, and the stuff they be saying, man, be so funny, man. Yeah, they conversate, so all that stuff, I'm locking it in, man. And, a lot of it, I use it in rhymes or switch it around a little differently, stuff like that, yeah.
So you go from that to actually starting to write. Was it a thing where you started to write first, or you was just putting them in your head and then like, all right, I'm gonna go write this down? What process came first for you?
Well, I mean, the stuff was in my head, like from hearing them say it. So, I go back, say it around my boys in school. Because, it was me cats on the block that heard it. So I go back to school and repeat it in school. So it's already in my head. So when I start writing, I'm just putting it into rhyme form, Okay, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. He said, he said he's sharp as a motherfucking razor blade. Okay, so I'm like, I know the tricks, I know the trades. I'm sharp as a motherfucking razor blade. I started putting it in rhyme form, on my own from there,
And then, we all know like one of your favorite MCs of all time is Grandmaster Caz.
Yes, sir.
What was that feeling like when you finally started to realize like, hey, this is something that I can do, like based off some of the inspiration from him?
Well, I mean, honestly, that's when I really felt that I could be a dope MC once I heard Grandmaster Caz, because I mean, I had good rhymes, that was above average, but early Brooklyn, I want to say like when I was hearing cats rhymes, let's say from like 77 to like 1980, I was pretty much hearing stuff like, that age one, my life begun, that type of stuff. Dip, dip, die, social, and late one night, two dead boys got up to fight. Those are the type of joints I was hearing.
Right.
Until I started like, actually hearing, the tapes from these cats from the Bronx. And I'm hearing Melly Mel for the first time. And then like when I heard the Kumo D Busy Bee battle, and like with the Cold Crush tapes, I was really only listening to the routines, it was my boy Swan, cat that I went to Park West High School with in the 9th grade. He was like, yo, have you heard them rhyme individually? I'm like, nah, I don't think so. And then he played it and I'm listening to Caz. He like, yo, listen to that Caz dude. And I heard that Grandmaster Caz, captain up the four. Another nigga couldn't touch me if he had a rhyme store. Even if he had a plant manufacturing rhymes, he couldn't make them no better than I make mine. And this is like 81, I think, somewhere around. And I'm 82, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, like, yo. And then like they all four of them went around, and like the second round they going again, and now Caz is doing some stuff where he's putting all these words together. I just dress my best and request my guests not to mess with the cess that I possess. And I'm like, oh, yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it wrong. I'm not thinking like this dude, I'm wasting my damn time, man,
Oh, so when you think about those times, it seems like every era has like their kind of like holy trinity or or foursome that everyone says who's the best. During that time, it was Caz,
Melly Mel, and Mo D.
Mo D. That was like
That
the
was the three.
guys, right?
Yep.
But then you come in and
Then
you
it became me, Rakim, KRS.
boom, and then
It becomes Nas, Nas, Biggie, and Pac, and
right
then Nas, Jay-Z, and Pac.
there, yo, each joint has its pillars, you know. And what does it feel like to be amongst the top tier? Always mentioned, man, when people talk about their top five and greatest MCs alive. You've been hearing this now for like pretty much your whole career. What is it like just dealing with trying to say like I'm in there, but shit, I'm the best?
I mean, it's a beautiful thing, brother, because I mean, that's pretty much what we got involved for. It's like back then, people like myself or Rakim, KRS, Coogee Rap, we wasn't doing it because we wanted to be the next Michael Jackson or, the next George Michael or nothing like that. We wanted to be the dopest MC. We want, like, what we was on our block, we wanted to be that in the world.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, it was a beautiful feeling, man. Yeah.
I interviewed Redman, and it was a dope interview, and he was just talking about like how the Hit Squad and Def Squad, they were like one of the first groups to come together as a super group. Everybody had their individual thing, and they were one of the first. But then he was like, but the people who did it first was the Juice Crew.
Juice Crew, absolutely.
So Juice Crew, y'all all come together, but you were always like the leader, and it wasn't even like you assumed that position. Just everyone kind of gave you that leadership position right with Marley. It was like, yo, that's Kane and Juice Crew, da da da. Plus, you were able to write for a lot of them and in different ways, man. Like the essence of a great MC, I feel, is someone that can speak on many different levels. But you could also speak from a woman's perspective, writing for Roxanne Shante. Jay-Z is also like that. Biggie's also like that. When you see the greats, they have like that through line. Um, what was it that made it able for you to be able to speak on so many different levels like that in hip hop?
Well, uh, first of all, a lot of people, you know, may have perceived it to be that way, but let's make no mistake. Shantae was the leader.
Mm.
Wasn't me. Shantae was the leader. That was the head rapper in charge. Roxanne Shantae. She is the one that birthed all of us. Me, Ace, G-Rap, Biz, Shan, none of us, Craig G, none of us would have careers if it wasn't for Roxanne Shante. So she was the leader. But with me, I mean, it was a type of thing where, like when I made Long Live the Kane, just examining it, I knew that I spoke about all that I really knew because I hadn't really been nowhere other than on the block. I mean, I did a few shows with Biz, maybe in Philly or New Jersey or Connecticut. But other than that, I've been on the block. So I didn't really have much to talk about. But after Long Live the Kane, after touring the world, from the east to the west coast of America, then going to Europe and all these other places, I was able to talk about a whole lot more because by then I realized that I had young and older fans. I had Black, white, Asian, Latin fans, I had male fans and female fans. So I knew how to cater to, different audiences.
Yo, what did the tour life do to you, man? Like, you were a different kind of rapper on tour. You actually put on a crazy show, and we know that big fan of James Brown and energetic, high emotion rap. What was it like putting your show together that you saw that you was gonna kill everybody else? Like, you just sat down and was like, I want to do my shows like that, or was it like you tailored it for the situation that you were going to, small club, arena, that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we would, do the show differently depending on the venue. But yeah, for like, for the most part of it, I just really wanted it to kind of be like a combination of James Brown and Marvin Gaye,
Mm,
and introduce that to hip hop. It was something that I learned from Doug Fresh. He had showed me that he wasn't looking at the hip hop artists before him. Like, he wasn't trying to learn from Flash and the Furious Five, or, Treacherous Three, because, they already did it. He was trying to learn from Michael Jackson, Earth, Wind and Fire, because what they've done, no one in hip hop has done yet.
mm.
So that's why I started, trying to incorporate elements from James Brown, Marvin Gaye, Barry White, because what they had done, nobody in hip hop had done yet.
Right, right. One of the other things is you know, strong stage show keeps artists paid, keeps them, out there. People want to go see you. But the other thing is like, just putting these albums out. And albums back then were a lot harder, I feel, to put together. The technology, um, the fact that, it took longer for artists to do albums. You couldn't just put out anything whenever you wanted, you know, um, especially in your era. What was it like to have a career that spanned all this time, but the highs and lows of the actual recording process and putting stuff out for people? Because it seemed like you started in one era, and then the eras just started switching while you were still, moving along in your career. What was the whole roller coaster like?
You just said it, roller coaster. Every roller coaster goes up and down, man. So that's pretty much what it was. It was a roller coaster. Um, but at the end, it was a fun ride though. It's
Mm,
definitely a roller coaster, but it was one hell of a ride, man. I had a lot of fun. There's good sides, there's bad sides, but I think the good, triumphs over the bad. So I enjoyed it for the most part. Um,
what didn't you enjoy though?
um, well, I mean, that was during a period where hip hop wasn't really respected as a real official music genre. So it was really finding its place, during that time, you know. Um, so, the money that's in it right now wasn't there for us then. The opportunities that's here right now wasn't there for us because they didn't believe in it. They thought it was just, a passing phase and it's going to go away, you know, which is like, idiotic thinking, man, because I mean, don't you realize that's the same thing they said about rock and roll? And look what happened, you know? You just you people need to learn how to respect change. But eventually they did, and here we are, and we got a lot of young cats today that's making so much money in hip hop, and it's probably the highest grossing music genre. You
Oh,
know,
no question. No question. But I do feel as though, and I don't know how humble you're going to be today, but I do feel as though you were the exception to the rule as far as being embraced by, the older generation outside of hip hop. Like Quincy Jones asked for your services. Barry White accepted any kind of request you had. You were working with Patti LaBelle on tours and stuff like that. You were truly the exception to the rule. And did you ever have like those? Because kids today speak about imposter syndrome and make like not sure like why they're getting the love that they're getting, and being in these spaces that's like, wow, they want me. What was it like for you to be separated from like your peers in that way, being honored by those greats?
I'm a grown ass man, dog. Nah, I mean, uh I think that, my style was just very mature,
Mm,
and there were other artists, in different music genres that, even if they wasn't into hip hop, maybe it just had, a certain respect for my style.
mm.
And you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, something new, innovative is coming around. You as an artist, you're going to be intrigued. Even if your record company is not, you're going to be intrigued because you're an artist. So what's this new thing? What's so big about it? So I'm pretty sure, people like Barry White, Patti LaBelle, probably was intrigued with hip hop. And you're like, yeah, well, and someone that they can relate to, that'd probably be who they would gravitate to. And I think that, artists such as myself, Heavy D, Houdini, we just had like a whole mature manner, way of doing things, man.
No, that's real, man. And speaking of your brothers, from Houdini and Heavy D, we've been hit with so many losses in hip hop recently, and you've been around to see a lot of them and be close to a lot of the people that have passed away. Um, I'm talking all the way back to like Scott LaRock, up until most recent with DMX and Shock G and Black Rob. You know, what is it about us hanging on to like our hip hop heroes, and what was it like dealing with those brothers throughout your career?
Um, it's it's crazy, man. It's crazy because this Shock G thing, it hit me like, because my very first tour, the very first time I actually headlined a tour, the opening act that I chose for that tour was Digital Underground.
Whoa.
And it was a fight to get them because I believe they were supposed to go out with, might have been Cypress Hill. I can't remember who. Somebody else. There was somebody else, like another West Coast crew. They were supposed to go out with. It was a fight to get them, And I mean, we had so much fun. I mean, as soon as the tour started, Shock G at Soundcheck walked around handing people these papers that said, that they declare war on us. And they meant it. They was shooting us with water guns. Like Shock, Tupac, Money B, they had big super soakers and they running around shooting us with water guns. So now, me and my crew, Third Base, MC Light, Queen Latifah, all of them, we got to go to Toys R Us and stock up on water guns because they not bullshit. They wetting us up with super soakers after the show.
So you mean after the show, you can
after the show, you just walk in your dressing room and be soaking wet playing with these digital dudes, man. So that's the Shock G, that I know, man. And every night, I might be like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm walking a girl downstairs to catch a cab, and here's Shock sitting there in the lobby playing the piano.
Wow.
Yeah, like this is the type of stuff that I'm used to seeing, man. I mean, such a great brother, and to hear this, it was just like, and then like when you mentioned like Scott LaRock, that was the very first time. That was the very first time something like that ever happened for me. I mean, to me, because I mean, it's like during Criminal Minded, I'm in the studio with Scott, D Nice, KRS, Miss Melody, and all of them when they're doing Dope Beat, Super Ho. Like I'm in the studio with them, watching these songs be recorded.
Like people didn't realize like how close you were with them, even though you were Juice Crew, you were still cool with them.
Yeah, Chris, Scott, D Nice, Scotty, all of them was my dudes, man. And I'm in the studio, with them like that. We hanging like this, KRS and Miss Melody helped me move out of my mother's crib, and to like be at home chilling and pick up the phone and it's MC Search calling you crying, talking about Scott LaRock just got killed. Like, say what? Yeah. Like that was the first time I ever dealt with something like that. Someone in the industry that's doing the same thing I do, have the same goals that I have, and I'm coming up with them. You know, we tight, we cool people. And to hear, you know, your demise like that, it's like, you know.
What did that moment do to hip hop? Like how did the hip hop community back then, because we didn't have social media and all that for these kids to understand how news travels and how it affected, you know, hip hop going forward?
I mean, a lot of people were, you know, really taken by that, you know, and it was a sad moment in hip hop because that was, you know, like they're just blowing up, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're just blowing up, you know, and just like that, the brother's gone, you know, taken, you know, from his family and taken from us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we are fans.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it, you know, it was, you know, it was just sad, man. And then to know that, like anybody that knew Scott LaRock would know that, you know, he was just this solid dude that would always try to handle a situation logically and diffuse any drama.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of dude he was.
Yeah, yeah. What One of the main themes now, thank you for sharing that, Kane. Like one of the main themes now is everyone trying to give our heroes their flowers. Like that's the new term now. It's like, yo, before it was like, yo, give them props or whatever the case is. It's like the flowers thing is going on right now. And I feel as though, you know, with the loss of Prince Markie D and Ecstasy, and then we're starting to hear like Biz Markie, his health isn't as good as everyone thought. So is there any update that you can give us on our good brother Biz?
I mean, he's, you know, he's rehabilitating, and you know, he's you know, it's a slow process, but you know, I think he's gonna be okay, man. You know,
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be okay. You know, it's gonna be a slow process, but I think he's gonna be okay.
What's one of your favorite memories with him?
One of my favorite memories with Biz.
You start
Uh,
smiling already, man. Like it's crazy.
uh, uh, well, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a toss up kind of between two. Like one was when he bought train tickets for us to go, I think, to Central Islip or something. And we're on the Long Island Railroad, and dude coming through to cut up the tickets, and Biz is like, yo, come with me. And we going to the next cart,
Yeah.
you know, come with me. We going to the next cart. Like we just keep going cart to cart. And finally, when the ticket dude catch up with us, apparently Biz had bought tickets to a shorter stop.
Yeah.
He had bought tickets for a
You
shorter
don't know,
stop.
but
And we were supposed to been off the train. So dude is like, yo, y'all supposed to get off back in such and such. You got to get off the next stop. And okay, and he stayed there with us to make sure that we got off. But the next stop was Central Islip, what we wanted to do.
it's like, yo, we good money.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, clearly you do this shit a lot, man. You know? Yeah. That was one of my favorite ones. And another time when Biz had a fight around Cool V Way.
Yeah. It's
And
Brooklyn.
huh?
In Brooklyn?
No. It's in Jersey, in Elizabeth, New
Okay.
Jersey, around Cool V Way. Biz had a
Okay.
fight. And he told dude, come on. And he did like the Ralph Crandon, Harvey Wallbank, like the put up your dukes type of thing. Like, you know, like I never seen a nobody fight like that in this era.
Right.
You know, like that's the only stuff I only seen like in movies from the 50s.
Right.
But he did the whole, you know, come on,
And it's a real situation.
real fight. You know, but this, he swung and laid the dude, man.
Whoa.
Yo,
Yo.
yo, I'm like, that shit worked. Yo, I mean, it was the craziest thing I ever seen, man. Yeah.
Yo, you gotta love that, man. You have so many incredible stories, man. Like even for all your different interviews, you have like really good gems. But this project here, have you ever heard the one about with the podcast with MC Search. How did that whole thing come together, man?
Um, well, Search, I've known this brother, I want to say, I don't know, since like 85, 86, somewhere around there, before I had a deal, when he had Hey Boy and Melissa, I've known him since way back then, hanging at Latin Quarters,
Whoa, the
yeah,
legendary.
yeah. So we've been friends for a very, very long time. And, he reached out with an idea.
Mm.
And I thought it was a brilliant idea because I had been really considering, this whole book thing.
Right.
So as he was explaining it, to me, it just sounded like, okay, this might be a good way to start, yeah. And then, Search is one of them, persistent brothers, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he gonna see it through.
No
So, I
doubt.
mean, just seeing his energy, made me even more excited, because I felt like, okay, we're not just chewing the fat, there's something that we know we can, like, actually bring into existence,
Yeah, yeah. And what it is, it's like a movie. It's an audio movie because you hear the sounds. You know what I mean? You got family members and friends jumping in, giving their take.
Yeah.
How is it for you to hear it back with all of their input?
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and keep in mind, all of that is search vision.
Mm.
All that stuff that he foresaw and added, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, yeah,
Did it take you back? Did some of those things take you back?
absolutely, absolutely. And it's crazy because it's like I'm telling it. This is a story I'm telling. This is a story I've lived.
Yeah,
But it's like when you hear all the sound effects and things that's going on in the background. Now I'm reliving it. You dig?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the beautiful
Yeah.
part. Man. There's so many different things in there. Well, I'm gonna tell you my favorite part, and I think I tell you this all the time we link, but we went to the same high school. We went to Sarah J.
Okay.
So we used to always hear about you in there, just legendary, rhyme stuff and all of that. And to know, like, I went to the high school, that was my thing. It was like, yeah, I went to high school. Big Daddy Kane went to my high school. Like when people wanted to drop down who they were connected to, this is way before the industry. It was like everybody in our era, they would connect to you and say like, "Yo, Kane went to Sarah J." And the teachers would still talk about y'all. You
Yeah. I
know?
mean, well, you got to understand. It's like like the security that would be outside from the main building to the west wing.
Yup,
Um, you know, they always breaking up the crowd when you're trying to just hang. When that bell, that get ready to ring. Y'all got to go. Either in this building or that building. But you gotta. We have a serious battle going on. Security just let it rock. And there was a cop that used to be there named Officer Lawson,
mm-hmm.
and he'd be there. He pull up like ready to break stuff up. Oh, is Kane battling? He sit there and watch. You know what I'm saying? He sit there and watch.
You got the
And
cops watching.
I mean, and with the teachers, to avoid me, taking the bathroom pass, it got to a point where they just didn't care. Because someone knock on the door and they go like this, I knew that there's someone outside wanting to battle. So I get the bathroom pass, and I may not, bring that shit back to 2 periods later.
Exactly.
I'm outside battling and whatnot.
That's the
So it
real.
got to the thing. A lot of teachers, they already knew what it was, and they was like, bye.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, they didn't even care.
So you were already kind of like a star before that. This is before the record deal. This is before
Yeah.
Cold Chilling, all that.
Nah, like on the regular, cats was coming up from Brooklyn Tech, from Weston House, Eastern District,
High schools. Yeah.
yeah, from different schools, boys and girls. Cats was coming up from different schools. Yo, who's this MC Kane dude? Where he at? And battling. right there in the back of the main building.
Yo, you know, so ill, you had it when I had the last year when we had to go outside to get to the West Wing. Well, you had to go outside the building. They made the bridge.
See, the bridge must came after me. It wasn't a bridge. We had to go outside. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to go outside, and then that's where everything would happen because you're still in school, but you outside.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where we used to battle.
Yep.
I forgot what street that was. Not Dean. Dean Street was the main entrance. The back entrance was. I forgot what that street was. Is that Bergen? Oh, not Bergen.
Bergen or Pacific? Yeah.
I think Pacific. I think
it's
yeah.
Pacific. Yep.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
And so ill. I also saw like years later in Teenage Love, like Little Kim is in Teenage Love, like for a little clip.
Mm-hmm.
When y'all doing the acting thing, and at the very beginning, she's there, and they're like at that corner on Sarah J by the Chinese restaurant and all that. It's right there. You and Slick, y'all played these roles, man. And that role for you was like one of the funniest roles because you in there like, yo, like, nah, chill, V, on the train and everything. What was that like? Like, we didn't really get to see a lot of cameos acted out for other rappers in videos during that time. Was that from y'all days of like, because he's from the Bronx, right? Like,
yeah.
How did y'all even hook up by then?
I met Rick at a Chuck Chill Out birthday party.
Oh, wow.
If I'm correct, I believe he was at Stardust Ballroom.
Your memory is crazy, Gabe.
Yeah, I believe it was Stardust Ballroom. And I was talking to Biz, and it's because this is before the eye patch, you know.
You knew him before then.
This is before the eye patch. Yeah, this is this is when I had Just Rhyming with Biz out, I think. Okay. And me and Biz is talking, and he just walked up and said, you know, that's how we doing it, money. White Kango with the matching white bellies. And I didn't know where he was coming from. And I was like, what's that? And then I guess Biz, you know, understood, and he was like, yo, that's Slick Rick.
Oh.
And I'm like, whoa, like Lottie Dottie.
Because people didn't know back then. You couldn't see who the rappers was back then. You really didn't see no real.
But I mean, you know, he had kind of been out the mix for 2 years, you know, because like Lottie Dottie, the show, and then like this is like 87, so it's like 2 years later. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm like, you know, like Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie. I'm like, yo, what you drinking, dog? Come on, man. We kicked and we just became cool from that night, you know? Yeah.
Oh. And that's ill, because then it's like it becomes a friendship that now you see you in the videos and all that stuff. Like that's a beautiful thing, man. Like your hip hop family, everyone loves Kane, man. And to wrap it up, like what this podcast is going to do is going to make people love you even more. But what is it about you that you feel people gravitate towards and would even make someone like MC Search say, hey, I'm going to start my company with Kane? Out of every hip hop artist he could go after, he's like, yo, I'm going to start it with Kane.
I don't know, man. Probably the fact that ain't no artificial ingredients, man. You know, everything is all natural. You know, everything is all natural. It's not here to be trendy. It's not here to be over exaggerated. It's here just to give you the real me. And as I said, you know, it's all natural. And you know, there's a lot of people that you know, as you say, gravitate to that. And you know, there's those that you know, try to use it as a guideline. And you know, and I mean, that's cool, you know, but I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know. At the end of the day, it's like this, man. You know, I think there's a little Big Daddy in everybody, but since I'm him, there's a little bit more in me, you know?
That's what's up, man. Yo, and to wrap up, man, just let everybody know, you know, some of the other things you're working on. If you want to let people know to be on the lookout for.
One of the things I'm doing is I'm trying to get this Juice Crew biopic done. That's, you know, so you can hear the stories of not just me, but Biz Markie, MC Shan, Master Ace, Cool G Rap, Mr. Magic, Marley Marl, Fly Tie, Roxanne Shante, you know. So that's something. Also, I'm almost finished with my documentary called Paragraphs I Manifest. And it features KRS-One, Dougie Fresh, Eminem. We even got, you know, some of the battle rappers, Goods the Animal, Averb, and it's looking real good, talking about, you know, lyrics and hip hop, man. So that's almost done. And also I'm back in, you know, back in the studio working on this EP as well.
Yes, man. Yes, 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 man. We need that. We need that, King. For real, for real. Kane, thank you for your time. Much success in all endeavors. And in this podcast, man, just to let everybody know in this, it's incredible. Once y'all start, y'all not gonna stop. You're gonna probably run right through all of them. And they're like 30 or so minutes each. It's about 8 or 9 episodes. Am I correct?
9.
9. Yeah, it's definitely something that you're gonna want because it gives you the full scope and story of a man that helped make this whole era mean something, and that's Big Daddy Kane, man. Thank you so much, man.
Nah, thank you. You're a real one, Day Schwam. Number love, baby.
Thank you, fam. One love.